Ruth Collins radio show. It is the 27th of April 2015 and it's 4 minutes past 11. So what's happening? Been beautiful down here in Devon, not so great at the weekend, but it was a lovely week last week. In the papers today, the main thing that stuck out for me is good old Lord Janner. Apparently he sent a thank you note to the detective who was forced to drop the case by his bosses, and apparently Janner sent a Christmas card after learning he would escape the child sex abuse charges. Now, we did talk last week briefly that why is Janner not being put in prison and tried for these shocking crimes against children, and it was all to do with Alison Sanders saying that it's because he has dementia, it won't be reliable and he won't know. And we already know that there are currently about 19 to 20 people in prison at the moment of around Janner's age with dementia who were able to stand trial. So corruption going on as we know every day, and it continues, the rich getting off and the elite getting off with shocking crimes against children. Today I'm really honoured to have MC Robbie D. Robbie's been in the music industry for many years, and he's been awake. And on the drive here to the studio, he was at a very large event down in Bournemouth, which I attended, where I first properly met Robbie. And what drew me to him is he started waking up all the youngsters who are at this massive party, talking about the agenda. And Robbie told me in the car today that they edited it all out. They didn't want it on the videos of the event. And we're going to talk a little bit about the music industry, what woke Robbie up. And then after Robbie, I'm delighted to have Sefton in the studio. Sefton set up a little community store in Buckfastleigh that let local community bring in their vegetables, organic vegetables and products to sell within the community. And he's got a new project starting up in Buckfastleigh very soon. And he's going to come on in the last 10 minutes and talk about it. And then we're going to do a show later in May with an update on how it's all gone. So without further ado, let me bring Robbie in. Hello, Robbie.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. That's the mic we want. So, come on, let's talk.
Yeah, let's talk.
How long have you been awake for?
Well, I've been awake. I've been properly awake about the last 12 months or so. But, I mean, I've always been kind of up with world events, I mean, for a very long time, even like in my youth.
Yeah.
I kind of kept one eye to the world, obviously, to the situations that have been going on and developing throughout all the years. I kind of had a little stage awakening when 9/11 happened, and but it was only like last year that I decided that there was a few things going on about 9/11 that came up on Facebook and stuff, and I decided to have another look at it because there was a lot of people talking about it. It was obviously 13 years or so since the event itself, and obviously there was a lot of things that really didn't stack up really to the official version. So I got up one day and I decided to type in 9/11, and for some reason, I don't know what it was at the time, but it was just something that just drove me to actually type in about the Illuminati. So I typed it into YouTube, and that was when I hit a big wall of amazement. The stuff that I found out was it was mind-blowing. So I basically, from that just basically prompted a lot of research, and the more that I dug in, the deeper that the rabbit hole went, and I suddenly turned from curiosity seeker to full-blown truth seeker.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. 9/11 does seem to be the catapult for a lot of people. They didn't dot all the I's and cross all the T's when it came to 9/11. That's what woke me up. That woke me up in about 2007 when I first saw 9/11 in plain sight, which is a really well put documentary. They take it right back to bases. They measure the hole to Pentagon. The plane flew into the Pentagon. There's no way a plane could have got through there. All the discrepancies with the official 9/11 story, and that's what catapulted me into starting to research as well. So, with regards to like the music industry, did you, because obviously being so heavily involved in music for such a long time, what was it? What area did you first start looking into how the elite, the Illuminati, whatever you want to call them, are controlling that part of the music industry?
Well, just sticking still with 9/11.
Okay.
You have to start somewhere, and with a lot of people that are waking up, that is the area that everyone starts, because it is one event in history that people of this generation and the new generation that would, it will always be for them the starting point. So I watched this documentary, this 3-hour documentary called Killuminati,
Okay.
and that that sealed the deal for me. That basically changed my whole worldview of how the elite, because at the end of the day, if you don't know, you don't know. You could
You're
go.
not going to turn the BBC on and find
No,
information
you're not going to find anything about this on the mainstream media. And to be honest, I mean, I was aware of conspiracies. Conspiracy theory, as they call it, well before I was awake, and I just thought it was just this tin hat loony tribe that were just banging on about nonsense because they weren't happy about the official version, because we all bought that official version. So anyway, this documentary that I watched, it's this 3-hour documentary. Basically, it didn't leave any stone unturned. It basically showed the elite in its true light, and that's when it opened the door for me. So anyway, I was there doing about 16 hours a day's worth of research every single day, and this was for about 5 minutes. And while I was doing that, I was putting up updates on Facebook, and people were kind of like, well, it's nice to see you awake, and some people was obviously arguing against that, because there's a lot of pre-programming that's gone on with a lot of mind control of the masses that have, so I had to basically explore all areas of this. Obviously the music industry was a big part of that as well, and coming from my music background, I've been in the rave scene for about 30 years now.
Crikey, as long as that?
Yeah, it's been as long as that. Yeah. Yeah. So through my research, I came across a character called Aleister Crowley. Indeed, yes. And
tell us about people who don't know.
People who don't know Aleister Crowley, well, he basically he's revered by the Masons, the Freemasons. Actually, the higher ups on the levels, actually, they love him. They in a way they worship him. And this person, he was an occultist. He was a Satanist. He was. At one point, he was thrown out of France for actually. They dubbed him the wickedest man in the world. One of his boastful crimes was that he. I'm sorry, you might hear my dog in the background.
We got Robbie's dog in
I put my dog with me. Yeah, he boasts that at one time he had actually ritually sacrificed 150 children. This is the kind of level of this person. He's not somebody that you'd really want to actually hold in high esteem. But he was, as I said, he's a major occultist. He was a complete Satanist, and I mean, he wrote several books.
He was an inspiration to people like John Legend, and he's on the Lonely
John Lennon,
Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts.
Yeah, well,
well,
one of his sayings was, "Do what thou wilt," is the whole of the law, and basically, he was an inspiration for the 60s, basically the whole of the 60s movement, the even the hippie movement, all that, and. As Lou said, he was a major inspiration for a lot of artists, which I will get to. Where I come from the rave scene, I always said that the rave scene was an extension of the 60s movement. So a lot of his teachings were heavily involved with the 60s movement, but it was part of the plan of the elite to actually basically shape our society. The way that it is structured is that we actually live in a fake reality where everything that we take for granted, our way of life, has been basically crafted and shaped for us Because the agenda of the elite basically goes like this: that there has been a 6,000-year conspiracy to bring about a one-world government. If anybody doesn't really know about that, it may be worth researching. They really want to gel it in with a one-world money system where they actually want to collapse the money, which they're actually going about to do at the moment, and to cement it all together, they want to bring about a one-world religion where they bring all the religions of the world except Christianity. They actually want to do away with Christianity for very nefarious reasons, and just bring about this one-world government that has basically been a plan for 6,000 years through this Illuminati. I mean, some people will say, well, the Illuminati only existed from 1776, but to be honest, the Illuminati has actually existed throughout time, through one way or another, through various secret societies and organisations that spans through the Catholic Church, or through the Jesuit priests, and so on and so forth, and all different areas of the world. But as through the music industry, basically the Illuminati own everything. They own everything in the world. Everything that you've bought, everything that
they've got a hand in it somewhere.
They've got a hand in it somewhere. They are the secret government. They are the secret shadow government that you might have seen through. Say you watch the X-Files and they're going about this secret government, this shadow government. Well, in reality, this actually exists, where they control all governments of the world. Where you'd have, in America, you'd have the Republicans and the Democrats. Well, basically, they are part of the one same thing, and it's the same with this country as well. At the end of the day, if you think David Cameron's been running things for the last 5 years, well, I've got some news for you. He's not running anything. He's controlled, just like Tony Blair, all part of a great conspiracy to basically bring back this one world government, and it's so incremental that people don't really notice it. As I said, they own a lot of companies, major multinational companies. They are
a lot of media, all the mainstream.
They own
media.
all the media.
Yeah.
They basically own all the media. All the media is controlled by them as part of the design, and they also own the entertainment and music industry, and they have done for a long time. Including Hollywood. Hollywood was actually set up by them. It's an occult practice. Where it's a part of mind control, which has been incorporated through what the Nazis were basically using, this MK Ultra.
I want to get onto that in a minute.
Which we'll get onto that, but the actual name Hollywood is actually in the esoteric. It actually means witches' wands. It was the wands back in the day, before when the witches were being burned at the stake, were actually made out of holly, which is actually like a little inversion for their Hollywood, or we call it Hellywoods. TV and movies was not set up to entertain you. They were set up to program you. Yeah, that's why they call them programs on TV. They're not actually there to obviously, if you don't know, they're going to entertain you, obviously. But for the people that are actually in the know, the actual setup of the television was there to actually program with a form of mind control, and it was through their movies, through their TV. To basically prepare you for a new world order.
Yeah, I mean, I talk a lot about what goes on with regards to children's TV. I mean, my kids don't watch telly. I've got the TV, but it's not plugged into the wall. It just goes through the computer's hooked up to the TV. But I go on about this children's BBC channel.
Mm-hmm.
It's up from 7 in the morning to I think 8 p.m. at night. The kids come in from school. The first thing they put on is a program called Tracy Beaker. It's their number one show for children's BBC, a program called Tracy Beaker. And the show basically is that life is great within a children's home. Parents are terrible and bad. So immediately it's getting kids used to being, away from their parents. But what was even more fascinating, Robbie, is when I started looking into the TV show, the name of the children's home, have a guess what it is? Elm House.
No way.
So Elm Guest House is where all the children were abused in Barnes in South London. And here is that's Milo joining in. Robbie's just going to go and get his dog because he's tied up. So yeah, it's in your face. It's programming, and yeah, something needs to be done, really.
Yeah, it's you know.
Do you want to unleash him in case he's,
Yeah.
or just hold him on his lead?
I'm
Just
gonna
just
take
hold him
my
on
dog. I'm going. Sorry, listeners. Right.
There we go.
Go and have a walk and come and sit down here. That's it.
That's it. There
Yeah.
we go.
Where are we? Where were we?
MK Ultra music.
MK Ultra music.
TV.
No, yes. My dog's just got caught up in my headphones, so I'll just. Is the
Live radio.
the beauty of live radio? Yeah, come and lie down there. That's a good dog. Yeah. So. Oops. As I said about the entertainment industry and the movies are basically been there to actually pre-program you, and this is basically from the start. They've had a plan, and I would just like to say at this point, please do not take my word for this. Yeah, I urge anybody that's listening to this for the first time to go out and research this yourself. And the thing about the elite. They like to hide everything in plain sight. Yeah, this is a system that they've worked through symbology and so forth. Yeah, and you can find this in any good library, right? Because at the end of the day, they like to brag about it. Yeah, but the thing about them is they talk in doublespeak. Now, I'll give you the perfect example of that. George Bush. W. Bush, the last president, when he was actually out making his speeches when he was president, people used to think that he was talking in gibberish. Yeah, well, the fact of the matter was he was actually talking in a kind of double speak. Yeah, that the elite know. Yeah, you wouldn't know, but if you're in the know, they would know exactly. And basically, he was sending out his secret messages for them to say, yeah, we're referring to you. Yeah, and with the music industry, from what I found out, there's a satanic element to it, where if you get to a certain level, and the fact of the matter is, there's a lot of talented people out there that don't really get a look in. Yeah, and you get all these so-called superstars, these Madonnas and Beyonce and Jay-Z and Lady Gaga. Well, this was the eye-opening thing for me. There's a little practice that they do where, say, if you want to get into the $20 million club, yeah, you have to sign your name to the devil. Right, you have to sign in, you know, when you have to sign your soul away, basically, and I was like, well, you know, what on earth is all that about? So obviously I did a lot of research on that, and it was quite surprising what I found out. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, it is, you could put it down to hearsay, but there's a lot of Hollywood insiders that know, yeah, and a lot of them have started coming out, and they've started talking about it. I mean, there's a lot of rituals that go on behind on stages, especially on stages. So as I found out a lot more about the people that everybody's supposed to idolize, I realized that these people are not who we think they are, not in the slightest. They're not at all. And hang on, my dog. He's going to take him for a little walk.
What I wanted to say is, when do you think they really got into, when was it these stars of the Illuminati, you know, these massive stars, when did the Illuminati really take hold of the music industry? I mean, was it during the 50s with like Elvis and all that? Was it before then? Or was it during the 60s when the Beatles and that started coming in? Where was it that the music industry turned into what it is now?
Well, pretty much from day one. Pretty much. Right. I'd say pretty much after the war, they obviously wanted to change the agenda. There's a person called John Todd who I listen to a lot of stuff on YouTube, and basically this person was an insider. He was on the Council of 13 of the Illuminati, which is basically the 13 bloodline. This world is basically controlled by 13 bloodlines, and he was in on the Council of 13, and he at some point in the 70s he was saved by Christ, by Jesus Christ, and left the Illuminati and basically outed them.
Right.
He did a lot of recordings, and the information that he was giving, you couldn't make it up. He knew basically everything, and he basically was on a mission to tell the world about what was going on, who owned what the agenda was, and it was a lot to do with satanic practices and witchcraft and stuff. And
because what we're seeing at the moment isn't the half of it, is it?
No,
I mean, there are a lot of people out there who realise that there are things that aren't quite right.
Yes.
There are things that aren't right, but they can't quite. But it goes so much deeper. There is such a more of an agenda behind the agenda, as such.
Well, everything's so compartmentalised. Everything works on a pyramid structure, where we are at the bottom of the pyramid. We are the bottom of the food chain, where the elite actually say that we are the useless eaters. I mean, the end goal for the elite, right, is to basically keep the population down to under 500. Was it 500 million? 500 million. Yeah. Well, that basically is an eradication of 95% of the world's population. Unfortunately, me, Lou, and the people that are listening at home right now, or whatever you're doing, yeah, we don't fall into the 5% that they want to keep left, yeah. And it's all going down to biblical prophecy. Everything. I mean, I don't know if there's a lot of people out there that are very spiritual, or are Christians and stuff. I mean, with myself personally, from what I went so deep into my research, that I uncovered a lot of stuff, and I had to go into the religious side of aspect of it to actually find out exactly what was going on. Through that, I actually had a spiritual awakening. Yeah.
There's many people. I mean, you weren't at all into religion.
No, not at all. I mean, obviously, I'd all, through my life, I was aware of Jesus Christ, and obviously, I had this inkling that there was something more than there, that there was something. But through my research, I kind of came to the understanding that this universe had some kind of intelligent design behind it, and it did open my eyes a lot, because I had to go through the whole of the history of the world, right through to the biblical side of it as well. And that's when I found out that our whole history has been not only inverted and twisted, it is actually, a lot of it, major chunks of it, are complete lies, to the fact where we have been taught complete nonsense at school. And I'm not trying to say that everybody's all stupid and we're all clever.
No, a lot of things haven't been revealed.
What I'm saying is, that what we were taught at school is that history just happened. Yeah. Well, the truth of the matter is, history was conspired to happen.
It's created.
It was created.
Yeah.
Everything has a connection in this world. Nothing happens by chance, and there's no such thing as coincidence.
Exactly.
Right?
That's what I say all the time.
And basically everything that has happened throughout history, the true conspiratorial history, has been planned. And as I said, there's been a 6,000-year plan to bring about this new world order, as to bring about the arrival of the Antichrist. If anybody knows a lot about biblical prophecy, as in the book of Revelation and the book of Daniel, and basically throughout the Bible, I'm not saying that I'm going to try and convert you to Christianity, because through this conspiratorial history, we found that a lot of the organised religions have not only been created by the elite, they have been there to corrupt the actual word of God.
I think it's very important with regards to this kind of subject, because it can bring up so many debates and everything else.
Yeah.
I'm a full believer in people need to make their own choice and to find their own way.
Of course.
we can offer the tools, can be
Yes.
offered, we
Yeah.
can offer the information,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, all we can do is give them the information, and it's up to them what they do with it.
Yeah.
And that's the same with religion. I mean, I wouldn't call, I'm not Christianity, I'm down with what Jesus, his teachings and everything else, and I think that's the right way to go. You know, a little bit different from you. You know, you're saying about the Bible. Yes, I agree. There's very important parts in within the Bible, but I believe that maybe the Bible was a tool to control people and to fear things. I could be wrong. I don't know, but that's maybe what I'm getting out of. But I'm very interested in like the whole Jesuit hold of things, because people aren't identifying.
No.
There are a few people out there who do look at the whole Jesuit agenda.
Yeah.
But I think that has a much more massive role than what is being put out there. There isn't enough information on how the Jesuits are running everything.
Well, as I said, you know, I had to explore the religious aspect from it, and it was from all religions. So I had to get to the root of the problem. I had to understand exactly what this new world order really was about.
Okay.
So, you know, it took me a while. It did actually take me a while, and I mean, the crux of it, from my point of view, is that Jesus Christ, or Yeshua, as his real name is. I mean, Jesus Christ is actually another elite name that's brought up to actually try and confuse people. As far as I'm concerned, he walked this earth 2,500 years ago, and he was the one main character in this whole story that warned us about the New World Order, and basic
he was the first truther.
He was the first truther. And
I hate that word.
Yeah, it's a terrible word, but you know, we're truth seekers. You know, we're out there. We're not out there. I haven't got an agenda. Personally, I'm not going to gain anything from this. I don't make any financial gain.
No,
I'm not getting
neither.
any bookings out of this. I've actually lost friends over this. Yeah.
And you lost. You haven't gone. You didn't go back to that fusion event either.
No, I didn't go back to
You
that
went
fusion
there, and
event.
There was one a couple of weeks ago, and you didn't go.
No, I didn't go. I didn't go at all because you know, when I actually made the announcement about the New World Order at the end of the set, they actually edited it out of the tapes and stuff, and obviously spread a rumour that said that I'd lost my mind. But
that's a very use that they use that a lot.
They use it a lot.
Yeah.
You know, the actual term conspiracy was actually invented by the elite to actually throw all the truth seekers off. But at the end of the day, if you didn't have a conspirator conspiring, right, there wouldn't be a conspiracy for people to uncover. So that is where I was at with that. But as I said, from this fusion, there was somebody down there, one of my friends in Bournemouth, that turned around to them and says, no, he hasn't lost his mind. He's woken up. Yeah. And the thing is that there are millions of people actually waking up on whatever level. You don't actually know which level you're at. There are different levels of waking up. But you know, you can go. The rabbit hole goes very deep. It goes deep, and as I said about the music industry and the entertainment industry, there's a lot of stuff that goes behind closed doors with ritual sacrifices and paedophilia. Because at the end of the day, the elite, it's the elite's religion. It is the Illuminati's religion, paedophilia, and this is why in the mainstream media, the agenda is being pushed to make paedophilia acceptable in society. They've done the gay agenda with the whole thing, and that mission has been accomplished. They've done that. They don't even need to go anywhere with that. They are now pushing the transgender agenda and the transhumanism agenda, where with the elite they've got this belief that they're actually going to merge man with machine, because they're according, I don't even like to call them the elite. They are what the powers that shouldn't be. They think, they believe that they have a divine right to rule this planet. Yeah, they see us as, they call us Goya, which is basically their cattle. We are cattle to them.
Yeah.
And they practice just some of the most nastiest practices. I mean,
what you witness when you see these things like the MTV Music Awards. I mean, the general people in the crowd and all the kids there watching at home, they haven't got a clue
no, they haven't.
what they are watching. I mean, they are watching a full-on ceremony to Satan.
Yeah, well, basically, I mean, people like Madonna. I mean, throughout the years, I mean, I never really followed her as she was. I was a fan of her, but I respected her music, and I respected her craft as an artist. Wow, has things have changed? Oh,
So
wow.
come on then, tell us,
Well,
spill the beans on Madonna,
well,
what you found
Madonna, she practices a form of spiritualism called Kabbalah. Wow, Kabbalah is practiced through the elite, with the elite, as it's a form of mysticism. It's basically a satanic practice. It promotes something about the tree of life, which goes back to the Garden of Eden, of such. And what else I actually found out, which was the other week, that where the Knights Templar had gone over to the Crusades, over to raid King Solomon's temple, to actually get the Holy Grail. And we've had the Holy Grail through popular stories like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Well, they're all linked to the Jesuits.
No, it doesn't, because this is more widespread than just the Jesuits. Okay. The actual Holy Grail isn't a cup. It isn't. We're led to believe it's a cup, because the thing about the elite, they like to give us half truths of such. The actual Holy Grail was the Tree of Knowledge, and it was basically the secrets of King Solomon back in biblical times. Solomon, when he was actually ruling, he had a practice where he could actually conjure up 72 demons, and there was a witch's book that was actually made from that. And in his temple, there was a lot of secrets that were to do with this tree of life, and this is basically the crux of the Crusades. They formed the Crusades to go and storm this temple, kill as many Muslims as possible, and actually gather these secrets, because this is one aspect of their big secret plans and stuff. And Madonna is she's a practicing, as far as where I'm coming from, she's a practicing witch.
What about things that people like Miley Cyrus, Beyonce?
Well, Miley Cyrus and all these people that have come up from Disney, and Disney's not what you think it is. It's not all the happy, smiley, lovey-dovey little thing it is. Its creator, Walt Disney, was a 33rd degree Freemason and a practicing paedophile. In fact, put a lot of sexualization into his cartoons, and to this day is part of the agenda, even though he's no longer alive. Disney have basically pushed the agenda forward, where they have they brought up a lot of companies like Lucasfilm and Marvel Comics and stuff in the movies, and they've put the thing about the movies, they put a lot of Illuminati symbolism hidden in there, because everything's hidden in plain sight. The thing about God and Satan is they do have one thing in common, is they like to actually announce their plans in advance. And that's basically where the similarity ends. The only difference with God is he's up front with it. Yeah. With the Illuminati and all the secret societies, through the tutelage of Satan, or shall we say Lucifer, they like to hide everything in symbols and hide it in plain sight, and they've basically put a lot of stuff in the movies. Now, the other day, I actually went to watch the Avengers Age of Ultron.
Right,
I mean, from an entertainment point of view, it was a brilliantly made film. It had a lot of action in there, and so on and so forth. But obviously, to somebody who's awake, I find the film very disturbing. Obviously, I was the only one in the cinema that was aware. Everybody else was laughing at the jokes and wowing to the action. But there was there was a lot of conversations that went on in the movie, and there was actually, I'm not going to actually spoil it for anybody by telling the whole story of the film, but there was a conversation between Bruce Banner and Tony Stark, where they were actually discussing the transhumanism agenda, and in a conversation in the sentence, there was actually about 5 subjects that were brought up. Obviously, one of them was the New World Order. Obviously, they were talking about bringing peace to the world through artificial intelligence, and this is one of the agendas of the elite. Basically, they want to actually fuse. Their whole idea is to attain immortality through technology, which is it is the original lie that was told in the Garden of Eden by Lucifer through his agent Satan. But from what I know, that Satan and Lucifer are the same, but they are two sides of a coin, because the elite believe in duality, and so this conversation went on, and I actually found the film quite disturbing. In fact, the whole premise of the movie was basically around the New World Order agenda, and they like to announce their plans to what they want to do in this real world through their movies. And there was a lot of mention of false flags of stuff, which we were obviously going to be talking about in a minute.
Yeah, well, we haven't got too much longer, actually.
Okay.
We've got 10 minutes.
We've got 10 minutes.
So we've got 10 minutes. What I want to touch on is there's been some videos going around saying about there's going to be some catastrophic event. Now, during September the 23rd, Atonement Day, and what are your thoughts on this? I mean, is this just another fear-mongering video that's gone at people just to, like when we had the whole of that rapture thing, when we had this that priest coming on and he was going to burn the Quran, he was going to do this, and the rapture of the world's going to end, and people are doing all sorts of things. Is this just another fear-mongering tactic? Do you think there might be something? Is that date specifically important within the calendar from your research, Robbie?
Well, the thing about that I found out about all the dates on the calendar, and I mean every single date of the year is a pagan ritual worship date, or a sacrifice date. They have certain highlights, like Midsummer's
and 1st of May,
and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, we celebrate Christmas and we celebrate Easter, but to be honest, Jesus wasn't born on Christmas Day. Yeah, Christmas is actually a celebration of Nimrod's birthday, and maybe if I ever get an opportunity to come back, I can explain in further detail who Nimrod is. The thing about the elite, and I think this is a secret that they really didn't want people to know, that there's a quite good possibility that Jesus was actually born on 9/11/3 BC, which would actually give credence to the importance of 9/11 and how they hold it in high esteem. Now, I think that with this date that's coming up, the Atonement, which falls in with the blood moons. I
think it's the final blood moon.
It's the final blood moon,
which is the 23rd, because that is mentioned in the Bible.
Yeah, it is mentioned. All the blood moons are mentioned in the Bible, and what I for my research, the thing about the elite is one way they're going to bring about this new world order is they are going to propagate a fake alien invasion.
Yeah, there's been a lot of that.
There's been a lot of that. There's been a lot of UFO sightings that's been increasing. Well, they are, as I said, they're going to bring this. It's going to be one of their plans. Now, either it can be an alien invasion, which will be completely fake, but the devastation will be real, where millions of people will die, or they will actually bring aliens to this world. And I say the term loosely, aliens, to actually propagate a lie where they're going to say that the human race came from aliens. But in truth, I mean, from my view, evolution is a complete utter lie, really. It's been propagated to actually indoctrinate us with the idea of New Age beliefs that are completely false. And the one thing that you did bring up, that there could be possibility that there might be a massive false flag attack in New York, maybe a nuclear event. Now, the thing about 9/11 is that, as I said, they like to announce things in plain in advance.
Yeah.
And one thing that they have done is they've actually shown it on the money, on the American dollar bill, where they actually showed you what they were going to do with 9/11. And the new $100 bill, they basically showed something quite disturbing, which was from our point of view, which would be a nuclear weapon would be actually dropped on New York, with a second one dropped into the sea, which would actually bring a tidal wave and actually wipe New York City out. Now, whether they do that or not, I mean, that's open to interpretation. I hope that they don't.
No,
but
yeah.
Obviously they don't want us here, obviously. And I mean, this is things that people need to research, people that have never really heard any of this before. You know, we're not stark raving mad, we're not bonkers. At the end of the day, I've still got my marbles, as you know. I mean, that could be open to interpretation as well. But I do urge people to take the time to research this, because you haven't really got a lot of time left to actually research this, because they are actually taking control of the internet.
And start preparing.
And just start preparing. I'm not trying to spread any kind of fear. What I'm trying to tell people is to wake up, because you've been fed a lie. A complete lie.
So is that what I mean, what do you, I mean, how do you, you've already said, I mean, I had battles of it when I first started waking up, because you do want to go and tell everyone, then you blow their mind, then you get called like you're crazy.
Yeah.
Have you found a way that can, you know, I mean, my way is, I always start with health, because that's where people can start empowering themselves on, you know, on health, natural cures. Look at what's going into your food. Look at the vaccinations. Do you know what goes into these vaccinations? Are you aware there's mercury in it? And I just kind of give them a little hint, a trigger, like a trigger, just so that, you know, just to get something clicking in their minds that they want to go and have a look. What do you find? I mean, have you managed to wake many people up?
I've woken up a lot of people. I mean, besides watching this documentary, obviously I've watched a lot of stuff, and there is a lot of disinformation out there, I must warn you. Yeah, there's a lot of, I mean, the truth movement is under attack. In some instances, it has been infiltrated by the elites, and so you have to be careful of these little wolves in sheep's clothing. But one thing that Jesus did say in the Bible was that, you know, seek the truth, yeah, and it will set you free. Right, and basically what he's trying to tell you is it will set you free from the mind control. He also said, you know, don't let any man deceive you, right, which means that, you know, there are people out there with an agenda to actually lead you astray. But I mean, once you start seeing the deception for what it is, yeah, you'll see it everywhere, you know, and you'll stop. The whole idea is to start questioning things. Don't just take things on face value. And to be honest, do not believe anything that the mainstream media tell you whatsoever.
Or
yeah.
even us. I mean,
or even us.
We're saying with this show, just
yeah.
don't, you know, and I do say this, well, you don't believe us, you know, just look into it yourselves.
Yeah, but you're going to find that once you start noticing that
It just leads on and on and on.
You'll never get to the bottom of it. Never. I'm still researching now, and I just hope that me coming on today is just enlightened enough people to actually.
We'll do some more shows.
Oh, we'll do some more shows, and you know, thank you for that. Yeah.
That's great, Robbie D. Thank you so much. So I'm going to just ask Robbie to take his little Milo the dog. Thank you, Milo, for joining in. And I've got Sefton here with me now. I'll let Sefton tell you about what he does. But I personally have been a customer of Sefton's in his little shop, The Seed, in Buckfastleigh. And it's a great little place to be. People are in there all the time. Local people are bringing their food in, organic food to go and sell. There's fantastic coffee houses, and it's now become like a little hub for Buckfastleigh, where people come in and they meet and they communicate. Welcome, Sefton.
Hi, Lou.
How are you?
Okay, thank you.
Good. So let's talk about Seed and what inspired you. Sefton and I are going to do an hour-long show, maybe hopefully inspire people to get involved with their community and start helping their neighbours, which I'm fully on board with. But just let's find a little bit about Sefton and what he did with The Seed and what his next project is. And if anyone wants to help Sefton along the way, we'll be giving Second one then, the seed. What started the seed, and what inspired you to start the seed?
I knew you was going to ask about inspiration. It wasn't an instant thing, and it's a combination of both myself and my wife's ideals. But this is over time, over years, really, and certain things come together. And I guess a culmination of many ideas became the seed. And I guess visually it's a shop, but there's a huge philosophy around it, which we've kind of combined lots of ideas. Um, so yeah, the seed you see is bricks and mortar, but the philosophy is about bringing together community and the importance of food as well. And when I speak about food, I'm talking about untainted organic food.
Real food.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So how long ago was the seed set up? How long ago was it now?
September 2013.
2013, and now it's flourishing. And then you were saying to me earlier, you've actually handed it over for the community now to run. So you were there to set it all up, and now the community of Buckfastleigh runs the seed. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, we set it up straight away as a CIC, which is a community interest company. So from that very moment, it belonged to the community.
Right.
All I did was, I'd say, put up the funding, the money for it, and put the internal kind of management structures in place. So it was become easier for the community to come in and run it. Yeah.
Okay. So what's next? What are you working on at the moment? Let's talk about this, because you've given the seed back. That's the seeds there. You've done that.
Yeah.
Next.
The next project, which begins on the 9th of May, it's called Meal for All, and it brings together lots of different concepts of community meals. And I have tried to think of a model which doesn't exclude anyone, really. So we've brought in the idea of a potluck bring and share meal, but also a type of soup kitchen where people come and make the soup for the meal, and also I'm creating a small kind of a teaching course of, and each time we do a meal, I'll be teaching them how to make a very basic but affordable and nutritious meal. So you have that, which happens slightly before the actual meal takes place. If you don't want to be involved in any of those three things, you can just come and pay or donate, should I say. Donate to a variety of meals which are bought by the Bring and Share, or the soup, or the curry which I'm making on this specific date. Then at the end of the day, we have, hopefully we have foods left over. They can be then taken or collected by other people who don't want to come to the meal. If they come with their containers, they pay a small donation, and they can take that food home to their family. Also, another really important thing, which is going to be created, is that with the donations, I'm not too sure how this is actually going to be done on the day, but the crux of it is that the donations go directly into the community. So if an individual needs money to pay their electricity bill, or even for some petrol to get their children to school, so, there are some families out there who are in dire straits. That money can go straight to them, and it's a way of the community really helping the community.
Can support other people within the community who are struggling at hard times. Excellent. Okay, so on May the 9th, did you say?
Yeah.
May the 9th. What time's it all kicking off? Where can people go if they're in and around Buckfastleigh? Can people come from Totnes and join in, and from around other areas? That's okay.
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so on May the 9th, where's it all happening?
Okay, it's a hall called the Christian Community Church, and they have a hall that they hire out. That's a very comfortable hall. That's 23 Chapel Street in Buckfastleigh.
Okay.
It's about a 2-minute walk out of the centre of the town.
Okay. And what time's the meals serving? Or say somebody wants to come and get involved and help cook the soup and have one of your cooking lessons. What time should people arrive up there for the preparation of the food and the dining?
That's at 11 o'clock. And if you want to bring your dishes, you can bring those at 12:30. and
Okay.
we sit down at 12 o'clock. I think that's right.
No, they come at 11:30, I think. Come 11:30, you sit down at 12.
Oh no, sit down at 1 actually.
Sit
Sorry.
down at 1. So people come in for 12:30 to bring their dishes that they want to supply. If they don't want to come into the room and do the cooking preparation, then sit down at 1. And so how often is this going to be going on?
I'm looking initially every 2 weeks.
Right.
And I think once it gets running and it becomes easier and the organisation's already there,
Yeah.
potentially every week.
Okay. And then will what's like the long-term plan? Are you wanting to get maybe permanent premises to provide this? What is the long-term plan for you and this and the kitchen?
I haven't thought that far ahead
Haven't
yet.
you?
No.
Sorry.
That's
I'm always trying to
okay.
be one step ahead. So just see how it goes. So that's on the 9th of May at the Christian Church.
It's Christian Community Church.
Christian Community Church in Buckfastleigh from 11:30, and I know Sefton would appreciate as much support as you can give him, especially if the amount the seed goes. I mean, I go in there; it's a lovely place just to go in, just to browse. It's all fantastically local grown organic food. They've got every kind of a supplement. We need to get some ancient purity being in there, actually, some products of ancient purity. Clive de Carl, he's a regular on this show, and he gives health tips. He's incredible. But no, it's a great little place, and I'm sure this is going to be a huge success. And Sefton's going to come back in a couple of weeks' time, hopefully, and say how it's tell us how it's all going. So it's going to be the 9th, and what day of the week is that?
Saturday.
A Saturday. So it's going to be hopefully every 2 Saturdays, and then, as Sefton said, hopefully once a week he will be providing this service to people of Buckfastleigh and around. Thank you, Sefton.
Thank you, Lou.
Brilliant.
Cheers.
Okay, so that's it for this week. I do need to talk about next week's show. It's very special. I'm going to be doing some broadcasting on an American network called the Liberty Beacon. And whilst having a chat with Roger Landry, who runs the Liberty Beacon, he pointed me in the direction of a gentleman called Steve Cook. Now, Steve Cook is walking the United Kingdom on his own, completely on his own, to go around to communities and start waking up children with the problems with drug addiction. So he is going to be walking across the UK, visiting and trying to raise awareness for children and the dangers of drugs. So he's going to be coming on next week, and he starts his walk, I do believe, on the 1st of May. So I'm going to pre-record a show with him to play out next Monday because I'm not here, it's bank holiday. So Steve is going to be joining me, and along with a friend of his who's going to be accompanying him some of the way to talk about this walk and what he wants to achieve at the end of this walk. And I believe Roger Landry is from Liberty Beacon, is going to be doing weekly updates with Steve. So that's next week. I'm going to play out, I think, well, especially for Brenda Mumsy McNamara, really, because she absolutely loves it. She was absolutely incredible on the show last week. Everyone loves her. So I'm going to play this one just for you, Mumsy, and it's Music Uprising. And as I say, the show will be back next week at 11 o'clock with Steve Cook. Thanks very much for having me. Thanks to Robbie D and to Sefton for participating in today's show. And thanks to Milo as well for joining in. And let's hope we've got some sound for this. See you later. morning, welcome to New Collins